Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ESS BizTools promoting business advisory services to your clients and prospects. I trust that you're having a great day today. Business advisory services was identified in the CommBank Accounting Market Pulse report released early in May as the top new service line, entry and growth area for accountancy firms. If you haven't read that report, I would commend it to you. Please have a look at it. It's the 6th year that the Commonwealth Bank has produced a report on the Australian accounting industry. And for most of that time, they have been progressively identifying that business advisory services was going to be something big. And finally, we've got to that stage. Because let's look at the report. 81% of the firms that the CommBank called leading firms, and this was based on those firms' responses to 5 questions that were asked by the consultants conducting the interviews. 81% of the leading firms and 67% of the others that the CommBank decided to call lagging firms identified business advisory services as being the service line that they were planning to enter or significantly grow in the next 12 to 18 months. And therefore, the question that I would put to you is, has your firm developed its strategies? Because it's time. It is time for business advisory services. And I hope that you will think the same when we finish this presentation today. Incidentally, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to make or criticisms, please go to chat and type them in. Or if you're watching this webinar as a video recording at a time more convenient for you and you have a question, by all means, send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and I will get back to you. Because we are very keen to encourage as many accountants as possible to take up the challenge of providing a broader range of professional services to the Australian small business and medium-sized enterprise market. And I know that every firm won't be a subscriber to ESS BizTools, although you're most welcome. But generally, I think the challenge is bigger. The accounting profession needs to make a concerted effort, I think, to supply these broader services. And I was very light to read. I was very excited when I read the CommBank report that indicated that virtually every accounting firm in Australia that they surveyed has indicated that in this 12-month period, they will be diversifying their services. And that's great. In fact, the CommBank report says all but 2% of the firms that they interviewed will be offering diversified services this year. So I think it's time. And if you're not on board yet, I hope that today will convince you to do so. So what is business advisory services? This is a terminology that's been talked about for some time now, of course. And I haven't seen that too many people have really defined what it means. I'm going to have an attempt today. So it's beyond the annual accounts, tax returns, audits, and insolvency that have become the hallmarks of most accountancy firms in Australia. Some are providing financial planning advice, of course, which could be termed business advisory services, or it could be part of the mainstream that accounting firm's providing, especially if they've been doing it for a number of years and they have their own license. But I think it includes things like budgets, cash flow forecasts, predicted balance sheets that we're now calling predictive accounting. And we are releasing a new product on predictive accounting in a joint venture with Plan Guru and Paul Barnaby. And we'll have more about that next week. Business health checks, going a bit more into depth than benchmarking, but similar to benchmarking. Business planning, a very appropriate time now, isn't it? Only a couple of weeks to the start of a new financial year, but it doesn't matter if it's sometime in July. I think every client should be encouraged to have a business plan prepared. Either they do it themselves or they get you or they get someone else to prepare it for them. But please encourage them to sit down and work through it. Just don't take documentation from last year and put a new date on it and say that's the new business plan. And the business plan needs to be a working document. It's not something to be prepared and thrown in the bottom of a filing cabinet, never to be looked at again until they try to review it again in a year's time. Buying a business, cash flow management, being very conscious of investment in debtors, investment in stock turn, debtors days outstanding, capital expenditure proposals, crowdsource funding, equity raising, debtors management. Now don't start getting worried and saying you don't know how to do some of these things like crowdsource funding, equity raising. Within ESS BIZTOOLS, we have full product packages, which we have developed to assist our subscribers to be able to offer these services, to help you differentiate your services. Early stage innovation company, same thing. We have a product package. And that's a package that will assist you to help your clients, but it also helps investors because they get a tax rebate based on their investment in an early stage innovation company. Someone asked me the other day how long this has been happening. And I said about 4.5 years. I think he expected me to say in the last 5 minutes, it's been something that had just come out of the government, but it hadn't. 4.5 years ago. Unfortunately, I don't think enough of the accounting profession understand it because your client can invest in a company deemed to be an early stage innovation company, and there's obviously a qualifying process that you can work on undertaking the due diligence reviews. And the client receives 20% tax offset based on their investment of their tax bill. There are some limits. But also, if they hold those shares for longer than 12 months and less than 10 years, they avoid any capital gains tax when they sell those shares. Personal property securities registered. Do you look at this? Do you think about it? On my reckoning, well over $400 million has been lost by Australian businesses, mainly small and medium size. But many people are surprised that the biggest loss has been sustained by a subsidiary of one of America's top 100 companies. They lost $62 million because they did not register an asset that they had in Western Australia on a mining site on the government register. So if a company that's in the top 100 in America can make a mistake, so can your small, medium enterprise clients. But they need to have an awareness of this and make some decisions as to whether they should register or don't have to register. Professional service firms charge out rate calculators. I was talking to a young lady last week who was looking at our product package, and I indicated to her that we had this product, and she said, wow, I had someone on Facebook this morning asking a group of accountants that she happened to be a member of Did anyone know how or have a system for calculating charge out rates for a tradie business? The other lady was running one. And she said, I'm going to subscribe now so I can talk to that lady. Are you having those conversations? How do your clients set their charge out rates? The tradies, the electricians, the plumbers, the carpenters? Or do they just listen to someone talking in the pub and hear what their charge out rates are? Do they know what their costs are? Are they making the sort of profit margin they're looking for? Retail businesses. Retail businesses are full of all sorts of products. So we've got variable product mixes. And there's also very variable charge markups that have been applied. And obviously there's the overheads. In some cases, very significant. Can you help your client get that mix right so that what they're pushing and promoting and pricing will at the end of the day generate the profit target they have? If you were working on a full-time basis as the CFO of a retailing company, you'd be undertaking this sort of work, or you'd have people undertaking it. Your clients in SME land need this assistance to get these things right. And in fact, I think that should be one of the key themes of this next financial year, a continuation of what has happened by many of you in the last 15 months of COVID, that you are going to be providing a virtual CFO service. Research and development. What have all your clients been doing in lockdowns? And unfortunately, Victoria's still having issues with this. I think a significant number of them may have been experimenting on their computers, in their sheds, on their farms, looking at new ways of doing things. Well, there is a special government grant for research and development. They have to be a company. So you need to have a communication with them as soon as possible, so that if they are undertaking R&D, you can make sure they're in a company, and then you can go through the recording process with them. We've got all that within ESS BIZTOOLS. Don't worry, we can show you how to use it so you can help your clients. Selling a business is another one. Survival in difficult times. I must admit, I originally wrote that series about 7 or 8 years ago, and we've updated it many times since. Because wherever you go in Australia, there always seems to be a crisis brought on by climatic conditions in lots of cases. What we've had in the last 12 months was not climatic, although it was in some areas, of course. But COVID-19, you couldn't blame it on the weather. But normally we've got cyclones, floods, bushfires that are affecting businesses. So survival in difficult times, I think, is one of our product packages that will be in our system forever. It's got 38 questionnaires that are linked to numerous articles which we've written so that you can guide your client through the process. And I'd clearly identify what needs fixing, what's out of whack. Doing real accounting work. Debtor systems manual. Why not review the debtor system for your clients? Everyone that's got debtors, it's offering credit, got debtors days outstanding over 40 days, and install a debtor systems manual. Succession planning is another issue. Section 708, capital raising. It's been with us for 35 years. Have you used it? Private company can raise up to $2 million in 12 months from a maximum of 20 investors without issuing a prospectus. You can do it for a couple of years, but after that, you probably are going to run into problems with the 50 shareholder limit for a private company. But it's a great way to raise money, but you can't advertise it. So you need to be communicating to family and friends, close associates. I mentioned the Tradies charge out rate calculator. And I did mention that I think the real opportunity for accountants is to offer a virtual CFO service. Use the technology, use the communications. You could literally be based anywhere in Australia and offer this service to your clients using products like Zoom. So where do you start? I've given you some idea of the products. Now, I'm a little bit biased. I've listed the products that ESS BIZTOOLS has, and we have more than that, but that's some of them. So where do you start in communicating to your clients that you have now diversified your services? Your clients don't know this. Your clients have grown very used to you preparing their annual accounts and income tax returns, perhaps doing a few other things, maybe an audit. So how are you going to communicate with them? I don't think it's good enough just sending them an email saying, we now do whatever, virtual CFO services or research and development. I think you've got to take them with you, take them on the journey, educate them as to what you can now do for them. So I think you need to start with classifying your clients. What industry do they belong to? How many tradies have you got? How many professional service firms? I'm not really worried whether they're architects, engineers, accountants, or solicitors. But who are they? How many you got? And what's their turnover? And perhaps when you do your exercise, you have it in ranges, up to $1 million, $1 to $2 million, $2 to $3 million, and so on. Do they export? Why am I asking that? Well, there is an export grant, export market development grant. It can be a bit difficult to get, but it's there. And a business, any type of business, you don't have to be a company to get the export market development grant, can receive a reimbursement of sum of expenses up to $150,000. So I'd be suggesting you group your clients into industry categories. If you've got someone that's not very busy in July, why not get them on the task if you haven't already got it? So what could you do? I think it's important that you start communicating. If you were a client of ESS BIZTOOLS, we produce Business Plus each month. It's a newsletter, and we'll show you some of that a little bit later. The newsletter is targeted at SMEs and includes 6 to 8 articles each month. Well, why not go through them and identify which of the articles relate to individual types of businesses? And we have started writing a special summary on what industries we think those articles might relate to. But I think you would find it easier because you know your clients. So decide which articles might suit these various types of clients. In May, we had an article on starting a business. So if you've got anyone who's identified that they're starting a business, an ideal article for them. We also had an article on raising capital. Crowdsource funding, equity raising comes to mind. Or what have they been doing during the lockdowns? Research and development. So decide which articles and then contact the clients. One of the challenges I think accountants have got is that as a profession, we are not proactive enough. We need to be contacting the clients and saying to them, do you realize we've got this material? Do you want to talk to me about this article on going into business? Use it as the opening of a dialogue with your clients. Have a cup of coffee with them or conduct a Zoom meeting with them to find out what they really want. And make sure you then get them committed to the ongoing service you're going to provide. And I don't think you should be agreeing to only perform the traditional role of an annual set of accounts and an income tax return. These are new clients that have been attracted to you, hopefully because you're being proactive in the market. Give them a proper business service. Because I think that's the missing link for a lot of our clients. If they were a big business and I was the chief financial officer and company secretary of a listed public company some years ago, and the CEO is surrounded by subject experts. We had marketing manager and sales manager and byproducts manager. We were in the meat industry, chief livestock buyer, production, an engineer, me as the accounting corporate governance person. Compare that to your clients. How many of them have got a team like that surrounding the business owner or the CEO of that business? But they still need that input, I think. And the way they can get it is through their trusted advisor supplying your part of the services. Obviously, if they need a part-time marketing person or a consultant, those people are out there and they're available and so on. So they can put a team together. But the crucial thing out of Business Plus is that 2 to 3 days after you have sent the newsletter out, you would then follow them up and discuss the articles that might be of interest. Invite the client for a meeting. And also upload the Business Plus to your website. That's what our subscribers do. They put it on their website. Other people get it. Send it to your prospects. It's badged with your name. Another very important document I think that we produce is the SME needs analysis, because it gives you a whole series of matters to discuss with a client. And in fact, I encourage people to give the printout to the client or email it to them and ask them to read it. And a week later, you have a meeting with them, because it's got a whole series of comments about all sorts of things, from key performance indicators to debtors days outstanding. What's it mean? To benchmarking reports. And what it does is it prompts questions from clients. What's our debtors days outstanding? Hey, hang on, the client doesn't know. They probably got no idea. I struck some people last year that asked me how you calculated debtors days outstanding. And they were in business. I said, what's your turnover? About $4 million. What's your debtors balance? Well, we all knew we fell over. It was a huge figure. And it ended up that the debtors days outstanding was 102 days. No accountant had ever raised this as a problem area with them. Through a lot of work since and making them aware of a particular industry group that was available, they were supplying the coal mining industry. They've been able to reduce that debtors days outstanding to about 60 days, far better than 102. This is accountants in action to help clients. So the SME needs analysis can help you do that. Why not conduct a seminar or a webinar for your tradie clients and talk about how the calculations are made for charge out rates? Talk about the issues that can confront them if they've got no awareness at all of the Personal Property Securities Register registration process. And whilst I don't particularly like that legislation, it's there, it's the law. And if your clients want protection, they need to have considered registration. I think the litmus test is, would your client be financially embarrassed if that backhoe that just cost them $200,000 was repossessed by a liquidator acting for someone who your client was dealing with, and your client had left their backhoe on their premises? Interesting question. So I've got some examples here. Discuss the use of the charge out rate calculator to assist in generating targeted profits. Now, this brings you into a discussion with your client on their productivity percentage. And you might use benchmarking.com's reports then to query your client. If your client says they're going to get a 97% productivity out of Tradies, that you then look at the benchmarking.com report and it might say, I'm not quoting direct here, 80%. Why would your client be doing 17% better? Are they better? Are they sure that that's right? Because if not, they're completely miscalculating the charge out rate. What about professional firms? Review productivity and current charge out rates. What profit will be achieved? Retailers, are they happy with their results? Most retailers I meet aren't. Illustrate that that you can make a contribution by utilizing the product package that ESS BIZTOOLS has, whereby you would analyze their product mix. I think we've got provision for 40 different product ranges. And if you strike a client that you're going to need more, let me know and we'll create another chart that can go into the system. And then, of course, you got different markup percentages, but the markup percentages are in your client's control. We can show them the benefit of making some subtle changes. And perhaps there needs to be some subtle promotions done in certain areas. And clients might need someone like you to talk to them about, do they clearly understand and do their team understand the various stock categories? Everyone's got stars, high markups and high volume. But everyone also seems to have real problem lines, low numbers and very low markups. You don't want them in the business, but they're there and people still want to buy them. And then we've got cash cows, high volumes to sell, but low markups. So where are those cash cows put in a business, in a stock sense? I get frustrated when I see them at the cash registers of small retailers, and they do that. Oh, well, most people are coming in just to buy them. So what? I think what you should be saying to your clients is encourage them to go on a treasure hunt to find them around the store. Because whilst they're doing that, they may see some of the star items and pick them up and put them into their trolley. And they buy them. So this is where you can help your client to think about some of these issues. I think now's the time for business plans. It's the start of a new financial year. We have a complete package on business planning, got 40 odd questionnaires for you to use on the key areas relating to looking at the future operations of a business. Budgets and cash flow forecasts. Don't just take last year's budget and add a CPI percentage, please. Go back to the beginning, go back to the key data. And let's build from there. Look at what the sales estimates are saying. What's the production got to be? Is there going to be supply difficulties? Has the business got to do some stockpiling? That is all going to cost money. And is the business going to have enough money? The charge out rate determination we're talking about. You could start now. Now's the time for getting your documentation ready to claim the Export Market Development Grant. Has to be lodged by the 30th of November. Have you got anyone undertaking research? I'm sure some of your clients have. There's about 13 to 14,000 companies a year undertaking research and development based on the last sort of figures, which were about 2019. I suspect when we get the official figures from Oz Industry and the tax office, it will have gone up significantly in the last 15 months. If you've got clients that should be trying to claim that, remember they get a rebate which could be paid to them in cash, calculated at 43.5% of their R&D expenditure if their turnover is under $20 million. And if they're trading at a loss, they can get that rebate paid to them in cash within 30 days of lodgement of the tax return, as long as the loss exceeds what the rebate claim would be. I hope I'm illustrating to you there is plenty of work that you can do. So to claim that R&D rebate, they've got to be a company. They also need to have spent $20,000 on legitimate R&D. And the biggest component of costs normally is wages and salaries. So they need time recording systems in place. So the records must be properly maintained. We've got a full detailed system within ESS BIZTOOLS to help you on that. Do any of your clients need funding? There is an opportunity that's closing fairly soon. The original special federal government loan, which was 50% guaranteed by the Australian government, final applications are scheduled for 30 June, so they should be in by the 30 June. There is another Australian government guaranteed loan, and that's 80% guaranteed. Those loan applications don't have to be in until 31 December this year. And those applicants have to have been receiving JobKeeper up to the end of March this year. Are they thinking about capital raising direct from the public? Are you going to send them to a bigger firm? Well, you could do it yourself. We have a full product package and we're able to help you. We run numerous webinars and videos to help. So a company can raise up to $5 million in a 12-month period from crowdsourced funding equity raising, as long as the company's got a vision, a plan, a capable leadership team. And they can go back to the market and raise another $5 million next year, as long as the market continues to support them. The early stage innovation companies that I mentioned earlier can raise up to $2 million. And under Section 708 of the Corporations Act, you can raise up to $2 million. So we've got a special offer for you at this stage, because we are committed to helping accountants all over Australia raise this capital for clients and create the interest, diversify your activities. So it's a substantial discount on our business advisory services starter package. Your discounted upfront subscription is $999, including 12 months for 12 months, including GST. So to learn more on that package, please go to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au. And while you're on our website, you can click onto the subscription area for business advisory services starter package and read all about it and hopefully complete the subscription form. So I hope that's of interest. What I'd like to do now is to go to our website. This is now the ESS BIZTOOLS website. And I'm going to show you a couple of those documents that I referred to. We talked about the Business Plus newsletter. This is produced every month and uploaded to our website, and our subscribers are able to download it. So our most recent article is the end of year tax planning. We sent this out a few days ago. So this is a once a year document that's produced, which is prepared so that our subscribers are able to send that document to their clients. So it covers a whole range of issues relative to tax planning issues, which hopefully you might find of interest. The other item I wanted to show you was the normal monthly edition, and I'm going to show you the May. So this is the May newsletter of ESS BIZTOOLS. So I think this is the promotional activity that I was referring to before. So here's the article relative to someone starting a business. When this newsletter goes to them, we've asked you to remove our name and put yours in there. It's your promotion. We only have our name on it because we send it to thousands of accountants around Australia who are working for our subscribers, and we badge it so they know who it's come from when it turns up in their office. Then we got the business health checks. This is someone obviously already in business, and our business health checks cover 5 different industry groups at this stage. So we would be identifying them, of course, if you were a subscriber, and you could contact those people that you've identified are in those industries. Stock mix can be a problem. So anyone, a retailer, a wholesaler, or anyone else that's got stock might be interested in this article. And what we're trying to encourage our subscribers to do, and to you today, is that you would use this as a conversation point, a conversation opener to talk to your client. Do they really understand how their stock breaks down into stars and cash cows and problem lines and disaster lines? Are they communicating with their team? Because this is a work that you can undertake, a role that you can undertake. Monitoring productivity is important. This is getting back to charge out rates for tradies and for professional services firms and for manufacturers and anyone else that's selling labor times. Contingency planning necessary when preparing a business plan. So this is anyone that you think you should be talking to about a business plan. That's virtually all your clients, isn't it? So bring them. COVID-19, this is the special loan that I referred to earlier that closes on the 30th of June. Client could get a loan from the bank, 50% guaranteed by the Australian government for up to $250,000. And then we got research and development. Protecting intellectual property is very important. After all, what are your clients doing research and development for? I think they're doing it to create value. They're creating intellectual property, which will be a valuable asset for their company. So we've got that there. Thinking of expansion. They need some scaling up, and we got material within our system on the scaling up process. So we've got there some comments on what they should be doing within their business to get organized. So that's how the Business Plus newsletter works. It's a communication tool to assist you to communicate with your clients. The last one that I want to show you is the SME needs analysis that I referred to. It's part of the training package which we have. So there is a training package which will assist your team to get ready. And I'm just going to click on so the training package has got 13 modules. There's the names of them on the screen. And we're going to go to the SME needs analysis. So this is a document which we suggest you sit down and talk to your clients about. You could hand it to them, send it to them, and then have a cup of coffee with them a week later. But get them to identify the issues that are waking them up at 3 a.m. The things they don't understand, the things they've been meaning to ask, the things they've never quite been game enough to ask, the things they haven't asked because they're not sure whether it's part of your work requirements. Are you interested in doing this for them? I think you should be. I think you should be really hanging on to that sign. We are your trusted advisor. And if they ask you a business commercial question you can't answer, find someone that can answer it for them. Do they understand their ratios? How do they compare to others? Are they within their bank covenants? What's their debtors days outstanding? These are all the questions that can flow through working through the SME needs analysis. Now, in all honesty, I believe that this approach, utilizing Business Plus, utilizing articles going onto your website, utilizing the SME needs analysis, will generate you a wide range of new, diversified professional income. The challenge is up to you. Do you want to do it? And it's like when you first started doing taxation, it was all a challenge. And everything is still a challenge, but we need to be reviewing all of these matters. So I'm just going back to my PowerPoint slides now. You can learn more about all of our services by going to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au. Our special offer for our starter package, $999, including GST for 12 months, closes at the 30th of June. We got some free webinars. We got a few of them coming up. Tuesday, the 22nd of June, Business Advisory Services Starter Package will help you implement. Also, how do you go about attracting clients to Business Advisory Services, 29th of June? That's very similar to today's, to be honest. And on Wednesday, the 7th of July, we're starting a new series. Every week, we're going to be talking about Business Advisory Services implementation. And this first one is getting prepared. How do you go about offering these services? Then each week, we're going to give you an overview. The following week, we're going to be talking about debtors. The week after that, helping tradies. And we're going to be showing you how you can convert your investment in a subscription to ESS BizTools into a realistic return for your professional firm. So to register for any of these webinars, please go to our website, ESS BizTools, and scroll down to upcoming webinars. And I look forward to talking to you. Or you can send me an email if you've got any other questions, peter@ESS-BIZTOOLS, or telephone me on 1-800-232-088. Now, I've been amiss. I've been forgetting to go back and check whether I've got any calls. I can't see that I have. I hope that means that I've answered all of your questions and that you are happy with what we've had to say to you today. But if you do think of some questions later on, or if you're watching this video at a time which was more convenient for you than this time, please send me an email on your question, peter@essbiztools.com.au. I would love to hear from you. I look forward to hearing from you or talking to you again in the near future. Have a great day. Goodbye. And thank you for being with us today.